But let me make my formal submission as is the procedure. The National Treasury makes this submission on the funding of the 2017-2021 collective bargaining agreement for universities employees as follows. I know the background has been, we have laid the background, both parties have laid the background, but let me just state as follows, that the University's Academic Staff Union, WASU, and the Kenya University Staff Union, KUSU, commenced their industrial action on 17 September 2025 regarding the implementation of the 2017-2021 collective bargaining agreement. It is noted that on the 28th of October 2019, the Interpublic Universities Council Consultative Forum, IPUCCF, jointly with the WASU and KUSU, computed and signed the cost of the CBA at 13.81 billion. However, the Salaries and Remuneration Commission, SRC, recommended 8.8 billion as had been stated before. Consequently, the unions took the matter to the Employment and Labor Relations Court, arguing that the recommended amount was not adequate as it did not consider the annual increment and the resultant pension liability. The court, in its ruling delivered on 15th January 2021, concurred with the computation by the Joint Implementation Committee. Hence, the total cost of implementing the CBA was determined to be 16.57 billion, including pension liabilities. The government later lodged an appeal on the matter at the Court of Appeal regarding the ruling by the Employment and Labor Relations Court. The matter has been in court until on 10th of April 2025, when the Office of the Attorney General, through a letter, informed the State Department of Higher Education of the Court of Appeal's decision, which was delivered on 28th March 2025, dismissing the appeal and advised for implementation of the 2017-2021 CBA to avoid further litigation. Now, on implementation of this CBA, 2017-2021, to implement the CBA, the National Treasury has provided a total of about 8.8 billion as follows: 6.6 billion appropriated in financial year 2019-2020, and then later another 2.2 billion appropriated in financial year 21-22. So what are the actions following the collapse of the government's appeal at the Court of Appeal? Following that, the directive of the State Department for Higher Education, in collaboration with SRC, IPUCCF, and the universities, have undertaken a verification exercise on the implementation of this CBA. The verification has confirmed that based on the court's ruling, a total of 8.8 billion was disbursed against a total requirement of 16.57 billion. And this has been confirmed by SRC in a communication dated 24th October 2025. In view of the foregoing, the State Department has written to the National Treasury for concurrence to settle the 7.76 billion outstanding disbursement for the 2017-2021 CBA in three phases, as set out here below. Financial year 25-26, 2.16 billion. Financial year 26-27, 2.8 billion. And then financial year 27-28, 2.8 billion. The National Treasury concurred with that position, given the very tight fiscal framework that the financial year 25-26 budget is being implemented. In fact, I wish to state, Chairman, that immediately this communication reached the National Treasury, our internal team were engaged to look at the effect and the impact it would have on our fiscal framework. And having satisfied themselves that they'd done due diligence, this communication was made online to me. I was in Angola as a chairman, and I gave the approval online. However, since then, I was again reliably informed by my colleague, the Ministry of Education, that this offer was not accepted. And we have since consulted within government, even though with the tight fiscal space that we are in, and the government committed to fund this CBA in two installments. That is 50% in financial year 25-26, and then 50% in 26-27. I wish just to state the following two additional information, Mr. Chairman. First, that the National Treasury would request that we make a commitment that we would be able to honor and respect. That is what happened last year when we had a similar dispute. We committed ourselves, Mr. Chairman, to a phased payment of the CBA 21-25. And I think we are on track on that without any default. Mr. Chairman, it would interest this committee and the Kenyan public to note that our economic stability is improving. If you look at our macroeconomic fundamentals, are looking better than they were probably 2 or even 1 year ago. But if we don't maintain the trajectory that we have taken in sustaining and maintaining our economic stability, then we will slide again to where we were, and the effect may be disaster. I don't know whether, Mr. Chairman, you are aware, but I believe you are, that this country almost defaulted in paying their loan last year, which almost caused economic disaster. And therefore, we would not even be talking about CBS to implement today. We would actually be talking about whether we can sustain our workforce in employment. And so I am cautioning that as we discuss, and I agree that our lecturers, our staff who teach in our public universities are not adequately remunerated, and they need even better salaries, including other public servants. But again, we must also be alive to the challenges that we are facing. And in conclusion, it would also interest you to know, Chairman, and the committee, that in 2013, we were only spending about 16% of our ordinary revenue in terms of taxes in paying public wage bill. Today, Mr. Chairman, we have gone beyond 40% in a period of less than 12 years. Up to January this year, we were paying, our wage bill per month was 75 billion shillings, translating to 900 billion shillings per year. Today, it has gone up by 5 billion shillings more per month. It is now 80 billion shillings. That is 960 billion shillings per year. And that is not very good position to be in. It is not sustainable. And we'll end up crowding out capital expenditure if we are not careful. And if you crowd out funding of our development budgets, we will not have economy growing at all. And therefore, we may not even in future be able to pay salaries and meet other recurrent costs. I submit, Mr. Chairman, that this matter is looked into. We must care about our public university staff, but we also plead that we agree on a formula that would not put excessive strain on our purse. I thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. First of all, let me say, the issue now is on the implementation. You've given an offer of 50%. Is it, are the unions aware? Are you aware of doing, don't answer, you'll answer that. Are you aware that what the CS is saying, 50%, 2025, which is actually supplementary and the actual one, are you aware of that? Two, I want to direct these questions to the PS, higher education. On the advisory we were given in April by the Attorney General, and you decided not to follow that particular advisory, leading us into all this mayhem we have now. Yet the Attorney General is the advisor of government. Why did you decide not to follow the directions of the government legal advisor? And already the courts had made a ruling. Now that we are in a circus of strikes and counter strikes, offers and counter offers. Those are my two questions. Yes, let's start. We can start from Honorable Member for Luanda.
I will be very brief as you've directed. The first question will be to the CS Education. But as CS, the union seems to be angered, and they are not happy with you. Why? because the Court of Appeal made a decision, the AG advised, and you did not follow the advice. 2, the SG has indicated that they did write 3 letters back then, which you never responded to date. So they are not happy. 3, when the matter came at first, they came up with the correct figure of 7.9. You people insisted it was 623 until you finally agreed as to the figure of 7.9. One thing I wish to ask, because when you come into a negotiation, you come with clean hands. And it seems that we are where we are because somebody somewhere did not maybe take care of the other person's interests. My question is, why this long? Why this long? To the SG, you had a very good write-up, and I want to refer you to item 27 and item 28 of your write-up. And in your write-up, you say, the union pleads with this honorable committee to ensure that IPCU works with SRC, MOE, and National Treasury to present a reasonable offer. A reasonable offer. But on 28, on item number 28, you go opposite and you say that you want this 7.9 billion paid at once. Is that the reasonable offer that you talked about in 27? Because I see the CS Treasury has actually offered a reasonable offer. In the sense that in the write-up, there was an indication of 3 installments. He is now talking of 2 installments. One in this supplementary and the other one in July, if I got it right. So how reasonable is the offer you're talking about? Thank you.
I want us to be brief like that, Honorable Member for again, but not.
Chair, we have 3 glaring phenomena. One, we have the 7.9 billion, the amount the unions are demanding. We have the 2025-2029 CMBA. 3, we have the students out of their learning institutions. Now, on the case of 7.9 billion, we have heard about counter offers and this, what the unions demand and what the ministry is saying it is able to pay. Now my question is, if that amount is paid, as the ministry is trying to imply, what is the position of the union on 2025-2029 CMBA? Are these 2 issues intertwined, or we are handling them separately?
To ASU. However, you need to note, members, the petition was on 2 main issues. CBA 2017-2021 and the need to negotiate CBA 2025-2029. Is it? So those are the issues they placed before us. And I wanted to say that somehow the CS, in its global approach, had indicated the far they have gone. And in the IPCCUF, they went on to give a narration of the various meetings and the offers they have done, which to me, it is something that is on the process. And I think the unions, what is very, very key for the unions is the implementation of 2017-2021. And now they move on to negotiate and wind up the 25-29. Is it? So I think you'll answer that. Let's move on. Member for Siaya.
Thank you, Chair.
We'll come to you.
Thank you, Chair. The CS education, in your presentation, I catch some statement that you never factored this CBA agreement in the budget. And I really found that very unfortunate. Why didn't you do that? Because it is a responsibility. We wouldn't have reached here and talk about this if you had factored that in the budget so that you cleared the backlog. Why didn't you put this in the budget, according to what you've just said?
Yes, Member for Nyamira.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, according to the presentation, it has just come out very clearly that the CPA, which has delayed for 6 years, has come out as a result of SRC. And SRC had given information, maybe they did it intentionally, or they might have done it without knowing. As a ministry, when you listen to how the public is talking, all the blames are on you. What is your take to SRC? 2, Chair, when we look at the 2025-2029 CPA bargain, they have only started by giving only 2%. And when you look at other departments, others have been offered as much as 29%. Why is there that big disparity, given that the universities have been crying and still they have started at very low percentages? Maybe we may want to understand. And that one should be given from SRC. If you are there for SRC, give us the answer.
And I want to guide members, because the issue of CBA 2025-2029 is yet to be adequately discussed and arrived at. The issues are proposals and counter-proposals. Let's try not to engage into it because it is not part of our discussion, is it? So that we'll allow the parties that are concerned to weigh in into the issues, and then they will discuss it. If there is a dispute, then we can come in, is it? So I'll want us to really try to constrain on it. What we'll do as an advice is fast-track it, talk on it, and make sure so that it doesn't become an issue of dispute. Is that okay? That's it. Let's proceed. Oh, member for Baringo North, yes?
Thank you, Chairman, for that last clarification. I think that is what is required so that we fix the animal in the room. Chair, since the Minister for Education has already said they are with SRC when making a presentation. If SRC was here, I would have asked them, how did you arrive at 624? Because, Chair, the person that has confused everybody up to where we are today is an animal called SRC, and they are actually being a cause of confusion for many years. I can see the unions, the Minister for National Treasury and Education. The truth has been laid bare, and all of them agreed with this truth. It's only one thing, that if God in heaven could allow these people to enter into a room and come out to say hallelujah, that this trial will end today.
What is your question?
So, Chairman, I'm saying because I am a parent, I have children at home. So I'm saying I'm praying.
Yes, you are a prayer.
God in heaven, that these people can enter a room and come up with hallelujah. Chairman, how was there legal fees or litigation fees are growing from all these scenarios that at the end of the day, government will again ask National Treasury to pay for litigation measures, because you can see from the word of the Attorney General is to avoid further litigation, please implement. Are there litigation fees accruing from all these costs of SRC?
Yes,
Chair, thank you very much. I think there's a big lesson that we can learn from this whole process at the end of the day. And Chair, let me say this meeting is a very healthy meeting from the word go, where both parties, all the parties that are here before us, have put forward their, and I can see a lot of convergence in what they have presented. The only parting point is where perhaps how do we go forward with the remaining balance. Chair, I'm a pastoralist, and in my society we say 2 moons can't appear on the same night, but 2 truths can appear at the same time. So I'm looking at 2 truths which have appeared at the same time here. And what I'm suggesting, Chair, is that if you look at the whole scenario...
I had actually dissuaded you from giving your opinions now.
I'm not giving opinion, Chair.
Yes.
I'm just...
I want you to ask the question. If you don't have, we move the next one.
Chair, I have the question,
yes.
and I will ask it. We have students who are languishing out. They are really suffering. We have parents who are agonizing. We have the staff of the university who have also suffered. My suggestion is, in a process like this, we need to have a give and take situation. The unions have said they want their amounts to be paid in one go, and the government has proposed a phased, initially 3 phases, now 2 phases. And because of that spirit of give and take, despite the sufferings that has happened, we just need to be guarantees that the remaining balances will be paid according to the agreements that have been done. But I support the offer that has been given by the government. Only that I will suggest, given that this has caused a lot of acrimony, instead of 50-50, the first phase should be 60% and the second phase should be 40%.
You know, Honorable Aro is a peacemaker, and is a guy who wants to promote. In his earlier life, he participated a lot. We don't know about seconding. It's not about seconding. He used to promote togetherness among pastoralists and people living in those arid and semi-arid areas. So we are constantly in dispute over scarce resources, water, and the rest. So we've had you, but the offer has been offered. Yes? And I want to ask members, you know, Honorable Aro didn't ask the question. He went on to give an opinion. If you are going to give an opinion, we are not going to allow you to make a presentation. I want straight to the question. Professor, proceed.
Thank you, Chair. It is unfortunate that we are discussing about a formula of disbursement by institutions of higher status. It's very embarrassing. My question is, why does the ministry always rush to court whenever there is a dispute? Especially when going to court is a constitutional right. But when one court has made a decision, why rush to go and appeal the same decision when you know when it is very clear that there is a problem? You know, in that case, you are destroying the spirit of goodwill, because like now, how will the unions trust the ministry on the 2025-29 CBA? Because it will also be another situation.
Members, let me guide. I want to again guide you, members. I want you to ask the question. And then 2, because the CBO of 2025-2029 has not been discussed, I will request that let it be in abeyance.
Chair, my question was, why did the ministry...
Order, honorable member. 2, the issue of appealing and going to court is a right of every citizen and institution in this country. And if you are not satisfied, you have a right to appeal, or you have a right to go up to the Supreme Court. So it is not an issue of dispute. What I want to ask is, you go straight away and ask the 3 people who made the presentation, the unions, the ministry, and the IPCC, of any question that you have.
Chair, I qualified the statement at the beginning, and I said, why is it that they ran to the... I said it's a constitutional right. But even in situations where you can sit and agree, why rush to the court? Because that way it will lose trust. I mean, people will start losing trust and it becomes problematic. My question is, all said and done, what happens to the students who are admitted in September? They have been in campus all this time. They have paid rent. Parents have paid school fees. What will happen after, if we in the end we come up with a solution? What happens to the students in our universities?
That is a question to IPCCUF. You are the people in charge of students, is it? So make sure you tell us, how are you going to cover the lost time? And how will you make sure that the parents and everybody else are going to make up? There's a member for Honorable Sairo.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, my first issue goes to IPUCCF. In their closing remarks, they asked that this committee asks UASU to respect the court order. I would like to ask, how come they will want UASU to respect our court order, yet themselves and the ministry seems to disregard and to disrespect the court orders? Closest in example is the ruling on 10th of April. AG wrote to the ministry asking that you order whatever has been settled by the courts and which was rightfully the dues of the lecturers. Why would you want others to respect what you don't respect? Secondly, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Chair, while UASU may have asked for a reasonable settlement, Honorable Chair, what we are dealing with here is more of a debt. This is a debt. And if it is a debt,
It's a pending bill, yes.
it's a pending bill, it's a debt, whichever name you want to give it. If we look at the PFM Act and the Constitution, a debt should therefore take precedence in all our planning. Why do we want to move into installments, yet this is a debt? This is not money the dons are going to work for and the staff. This is money they already worked for. So when they're asking for a reasonable, I find 50-50 to be totally unreasonable because it is a debt. Why can't the CS Treasury just treat this as a debt? We be done with for once and for all. What is the challenge? And if it is to be reasonable and saying you are ceding ground, honestly, a 50-50 is not it. Can't you do an 80-20?
Yes, that's the National Treasury, and he had given his input. Now we'll start with WASU. We'll start with the CS Education. He has made CS Education and then CS National Treasury. And then they have a meeting at 1:30 for the World Bank. I don't know, because you are the key people, I don't want you actually to leave here. I want you to finish it very fast. We still have 10 minutes. I start with the CS Education, and then we come Treasury. Treasury, you can start with Treasury, and then we go to Education, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Actually, this is from the CS National Treasury, yes.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Chair, since I don't think I have much to address, I could start first and then follow off. My colleague here will represent the government. First, the question on how would the union trust the government. I want to affirm again that we have demonstrated, based on our agreement last year, that we can be trusted. And I want to commit here that what we have offered, we will respect, however difficult it is. We are operating in a difficult environment, but we will make sure that we try to rearrange the budget and get some money to make
so that because we are on record, and I want to thank you because you were once a ranking member in this house. If you say 50-50, how much? You pronounce yourself, the figure.
It's the total, the figure is half of 7.76 billion, which is 3.85, I guess, billion. So we had offered to pay 2.16. Now the balance we have already committed that we will add to the 2.16 to make it 50% of the outstanding amount. Yes. This financial year. And again, the next financial year, we will factor in the remaining amount. As to whether it's pending bills, it's well debatable. The pending bills, and you need to know at what point bill becomes pending bill. If you use accrual accounting or cash basis, if it is cash basis, it falls now. So we start treating it as a bill as at now when we agree. So if you use accrual accounting, then it is when it was incurred. But again, it is all about the ability to pay. I want to be very clear. If we didn't have the fiscal challenges, there was no reason why we would have a dispute on how to pay amount that we have already acknowledged as a government. I think that would be dishonest on the part of the government. The government has now acknowledged that we owe 7.76 billion to our university staff, and that we must pay. We are just pleading with the unions to understand that our fiscal space is limited, and we are facing serious challenges. Yeah, we don't just have time. If I could go into the details, you would see the position. Finally, I think a comment was made about whether we are fairly treating university staff compared to others, whether there is equity, that we have offered about 29% to some category of public servants. I don't think that is accurate. Actually, from the information I have on the agreement with teachers, it was 12% on average. Yes. So I want to just be clear that we treat all our public servants the same, and we cannot underrate the contribution that higher education or higher learning plays. And Chairman, it may interest you to note that my first employer was actually university. I would today probably be sitting either here representing the university staff or somewhere watching the outcome of these deliberations with bated breath that the government honors and pays in full the amount outstanding, which is 7.76. And therefore, I can note for even a minute. In fact, one of my longest employers was a university, 8 years, only second to the National Assembly. So I respect the university staff and the contribution they're making to our economy, but I want to plead with them. And many of them are my friends. In fact, Professor here knows what we went through last year to agree on what to do with the CBA that we agreed on last year. And I think I played a good boy to date. I don't think you have any concern. Mr. Mukwaya here, we have been with him in many places. We have reformed many things with him, and is continuing to reform the country. So I wouldn't really have any issue. I'm just pleading that our fiscal space and fiscal framework is really, really limited at the moment. Thank you, Chair. And I submit again, 50-50 is agreeable to the National Treasury.
Chair,
order members. I'll want you to interject once and then you leave.
Yeah, start with.
Let's start with him. Yes.
Chairman, I want to find out from the CS National Treasury, if you split that money in terms of that which belongs to pension and that which belongs to salaries and so on, what is the difference? How much is the one going to salaries and what is going to pension? It provides guidance on this.
On the 3.85, that's okay. Yes. We'll allow that interjection before he leaves. Yes.
Chair, I would like to ask the CS. You know, if you promise me a salary increment in a CBA, we know how we all operate. Some go for loans based on that. Chair, this is money already owed. And to be fair, there is no interest charged. We're just asking the CS, you can squeeze somewhere. This is a mess in State Department of Higher Education. You've never had us call you here for basic. Can you just squeeze and give them more? It's a debt. Let it not be 50-50. It's very unfair. It's inhumane. We understand the physical space is constrained.
Chair.
But we need to be considerate that people took loans and people are being auctioned just because of this.
Yes, members, I want you to know, and I think this is out of experience, you don't take a loan out of a CBA. You take a loan on the actuals, what you have gotten. So on this particular case, yes, the case is very important, It is very true. But the issue the CS has put it across to us is subject to our discussion. Maybe now the CS National Treasury and CS Education, what the members are just saying is actually a plea on a higher, you give a higher payment, maybe 60-40 or 80, something like that. That one is something that we are putting to your desk. But what they have done, if they have actually it was three installments. Now they have come to 2. They have made a movement. We'll hear from Wazo and to listen from them if that is satisfactory. They are not even part of their bargain.
Chair.
Do I release the CS because he's being waited?
No, let the union speak.
I want him to respond to it, and then we release him.
No, let the union say something.
Order members. You are not. It is the chair who is giving direction. CS respond to it, and then we.
Chair, I want to just respond that about 20% of this amount outstanding was pension. As at now, this remaining 7.7 billion, we have about 1.55 billion which should constitute pension. The rest is salary. And yeah, I think that is the first question that you asked. I want to, my friend Gisario, I just wanted to also mention, remember, and Chair, I know I'm probably violating standing orders, but just allow me to mention that if there will be agreement on 2025-29,
no, you can't. We will not allow you to go against
CBA,
orders. CS.
CBA, I'm not really going against.
Yes.
I'm just indicating that
you don't anticipate debate.
That will again require some intervention from the National Treasury. And so we must balance off this against the money that we have. By the way, sometimes it is easier to imagine that there's some money somewhere at the Treasury that can easily be pulled. It's not there. In fact, Mheshimiwa, you were talking about interest. There was no money that we put somewhere to give us interest. We are just collecting money and paying. If they charged us interest, that would have been even more disaster for us. I'm actually pleading that that thought is not passed to them. They don't consider that at all. Thank you, Chairman.